It's a beautiful morning here in Uluwatu on the Bukit, or in the area of Uluwatu. I'm actually at the original Uluwatu area, so just up the road there is the Uluwatu Temple Pura Luhur Uluwatu. And I'm going to walk around the area because I want to get a feel for this specific area of Uluwatu now, or the Bukit now, because it's changed a little bit. I want to get down to Pantai Suluban and have a look at that blue point over there that used to be pretty popular back in the day with surfers. I'm not sure. I heard that it's actually gone up market a little bit in recent times. So I'm going to walk around. First of all, I'm going to try this little cafe. It's called Karma Free. And I'm assuming the name is a reference to guilt-free eating, because it's supposed to be healthy food, but good. Now, I'm not really into like the health food angle, but if it's good food, I don't care if it's healthy or bad. Like, that's my story. So I'm going to have something to eat here and a bit of a coffee. And then I'm going to head back down the other way towards Suluban and just walk the whole lot and see what I can find. Let's get stuck in. I actually really like this place. I've just ordered some pancakes and a coffee. It's really expensive, but it looks good. It gives me vibes of what I remember some of those more hippie-like places we're trying to do back in Ubud, back in the day, like 20 years ago. I mean, it's obviously a lot more modern than that and it caters to a different crowd, but it's like they're trying to be healthy, but they're trying to do really good food as well. The coffee is 58,000, which is one of the most expensive coffees I've had in Bali, except when I was in Nusa Dua. But I don't mind. If it's good, I don't care. What? That is a good looking cappuccino. It's got a bit of a shine on top of it too. I know it's not too hot, I can feel it. Dogs are going off in the background.
Mantap.
That is a good one. That is an extremely good one. The milk on that is so silky smooth. That is an unreal coffee. I love my Sanua coffee, I honestly do, but gee, there are some good ones up this way, like really world-class, top standard stuff. Love it. I don't know how healthy these pancakes really are. They're 118,000, which again is on the higher side, but if they're good, I just think it's okay. I really do, especially with the Indonesian rupiah now sort of being a lot softer than it used to be. These sorts of things, I don't really care at all. It looks good though. Let's check it out. Apparently that is coconut yogurt or something along those lines, and then some raspberry coulis. I don't think they call it that. That's just my thing. Okay. I will be very surprised if this is healthy. Tastes good. That is good. It's not overly sweet. One of the things about pancakes is a lot of people that make them just make them ultra sweet, and then they're not really nice. They're just one dimensional. This is quite nice. That yogurty stuff on top, and that jammy coulis thing is not too sweet. It's really nice. Yeah. I love this place actually. This little cafe at this time of the morning. I've got a dog right next to me wagging its tail. Like, you can see the tail in the background of the video. It's just a really nice atmosphere here. A few motorbikes going past. It's not too busy. This is a little bit further along than some of those crazy places like Padang-Padang and Bingin. Hello. Okay, so I've zipped around the other side of Uluwatu to where Thomas Beach is, or used to be. I say used to be because that big structure in the background, I know was Lahan Kosong, because the sign to Thomas Beach is that way. And I stayed at a little, like Losmen, or a little mini guest house down this way a long time ago. And it certainly was in the middle of a field. You had to drive through a long dirt path through a field. And I remember there was cockfighting going on around the back of the bushes at one point. And so the area doesn't look familiar at all to me. I'm just gonna have a quick squiz down here. I'm not gonna go all the way to the bottom. I'm sure that guest house in its previous format just doesn't exist anymore. I'll show, there's a little bit of a remnant of what it used to be like. It's all been sort of, not flattened out, but sort of dug away, so the undulation of the hills is gone. So that's what I remember, this sort of stuff, but a lot more trees and a lot less rubbish and building material and so forth. And down towards the edge of the cliff, there was a thing called, I don't know, was it called Thomas Homestay or something like that? It was basic. Now I was there with Susan if I was there with Susan, it must have been 2011. And yeah, it's one of those places without AC. So I had the windows open and I went up and had a meal somewhere around here. While I was out, there was a storm. It was a really bad one, like lots of wind. I got back, and I know it's going to sound like an exaggeration, but it's not. I had about that much, maybe a little bit more of water in the room. It had come through the window and didn't drain. So I had a flood in my room. It was pretty cool. One of those experiences you have back in the day. Yeah, I don't think you get that too much these days, except if there's a burst pipe. So I'm going to walk this area. I'm down here at 7:30. And the reason I started at the other place first to have a bite to eat is because I actually found that place on Google Maps and it looked good. So I thought, I'll go there first. I know it's open early, and then I'll walk from one end to the other. But yeah, I mean, immediately, nothing visually looks familiar to me. It doesn't feel busy because it's in the morning. And that's another thing you probably need to take into account, is that this might get really busy. I know that it does when it comes to sort of sunset. Everyone's down here for sunset, but does it get busy during the middle of the day? I don't know. Like the crowd, it's the sort of the crowd that you had down at Bingin, I guess. A younger crowd, not really surfers so much. I mean, it doesn't feel bad at the moment. Yeah. At first glance, if I was 20 years younger, I would love this place. I would love it. I can see a lot of stuff here that just sort of, it suits my style, but I'm just older and not really into it anymore. Maybe even 20 years ago, I wouldn't be into the whole gym bro thing, which is still a thing around here. Like, I don't know, I've never really been into that whole, when I say gym bro, I don't mean just going to the gym. I mean having that whole gym thing define who you are, but not only that as well, but then projecting that onto other people. So walking around with your shirt off and showing everyone how good looking you are. Well, I've never been that person. There's a bit of that going on here. I mean, not everyone, it's a bit of a generalisation, but you do see some of the chicks going around here, with a bit of skimpy clothing on, and it's not really, I don't know. It's just old people stuff I'm talking about now, isn't it, really? Heaps of good little shops, like with jewellery and homewares and like clothing. I mean, you look at that. Beautiful, beautiful clothing in there, shirts and linens and quite unique things. So they're not brand names, well, they're local brand names. And I think that's really nice to see as well. I'm actually finding down on the Bukit here, or down in Uluwatu here, there's heaps of those sorts of more boutique places. And I think in Indonesia, they really can capitalise on that a lot more because they've got fantastic designers and they've got pretty good production here as well, especially when you go off the island of Bali into Java. There is great production for linens, fabrics, yarns and that sort of stuff. Back in the day, I did stay around here another time, along here somewhere. It feels like it was along there or maybe just around the corner. There wasn't much here. There were some buildings and there were locals living here. But I stayed in it was a fairly new guest house, very basic, but quite decent. And I had one of those chimneys. I was cruising around Bali for months in one of those chimneys. I think it cost me 80,000 a day to rent it. Brilliant thing. AC didn't work on it. Like you wouldn't need it anyway, so I just had the windows down and I just cruised. This is pre sort of Google Maps, just cruising around Bali. Anyway, I woke up one morning to go out and my tyre was flat on the chimney and I thought, I don't even know how to change this thing. But I figured it out. And the reason I figured it out is that a guy jumped out of the bushes, literally came through the bushes and said, I can help with that. I said, well, thank you very much. I gave him 20,000, which was a quarter of a daily rental on the chimney. And he was as happy as Larry. And I was as happy as Larry because I didn't have to figure out how the jack worked on the old chimney. And I reckon, actually it reminds me, he didn't chop the wheel. You know, you're supposed to chop the opposite wheel. I'm just gonna go down that way, I think. I think that's the way. to Suluban and Blue Point. I'm going to go down there. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Let's have a look. Yeah, there's a parking dude there, so it must be the way to go. Anyway, if you've got to chock the wheel, and you know what happens if you don't chock the wheel, or you know what potentially can happen, especially if you don't have the park brake on, it fell off the jack. It rolled off the jack. So you had to jack it up again off the wheel, off the actual hub, and then start again. Lucky it wasn't me, it would have been a nightmare. Another cool story about that car, I actually rented it in Kuturulegian. And I said to the dude, I paid him 2 months up front. I took it. I had it for 3 months, but I didn't tell him that I was extending. I just thought it'd be okay, I'll just pay you when I get back. But he didn't know that, and he didn't have my number. Didn't have my phone number, so he thought it had been stolen. He thought it was gone. And had people all around the island looking for it, until one day I rolled up and said, oh, here's your car back. Oh, by the way, there's a spare tyre that's flat. And oh, by the way, I also lost your mirror. The side mirror just came off once. I was going down through Ahmed, just cruising along, and all of a sudden I just heard this clunk. I looked at my side mirror and it was gone. So I just kept going. I actually loved those old Jimneys. They were just they had a really, made you feel closer to Bali in some way. They're very tactile in the way they drove. You had the windows down, you could hear everything and see everything. You had to take it easy. The tyres were usually bald. You know, if you're going downhill in the wet, you'd be going really slow in low gear like a big truck or something like that, because you didn't want to lock up the wheels. No ABS or anything like that. But it felt so tactile and so raw. It just suited Bali for me. That's one of my sort of classic memories of Bali, actually. I just spotted a little valley to my left. So I'm walking on the top of a valley here. And I've got a funny feeling I'm on the wrong side. My memory of this is that I was on the other side of this little valley last time I came here. So I might be going the wrong way, but we'll figure it out. Noticing a lot more of these sorts of places, steak and grill places, which never used to be the go in Bali. And I've noticed they're usually quite expensive for some reason. It's a really odd thing. This doesn't feel too bad around here, actually. You know, some old homestays like that are still around, and the crowd is actually, I'm seeing a few surfers now, because I'm coming down to Suluban, or Blue Point, or whatever they're calling it. I'm seeing quite a few surfers down here. Over here, it looks to be the car park. So maybe that's where I've got to, this is not where I was expecting to pop out. This must be the surfers' car parking spot. So let's have a look. Wow. Geez, that's a good scene out there, isn't it? Some decent waves. A few surfers out there. I can see about, I don't know, 30 all up. The lady says if I go down this way, I can get back up a different way. So this is, I have been here before. This is what I was thinking of, I think. But my memory was that this is all warungs and stuff down here. Like, this looks a little bit fancy. That place, Single Fin, I think I saw that on Instagram once. So it feels similar in that this track feels the same, but the shops down here are a little bit more upmarket than I remember. Yeah, this is exactly the place I thought I was coming to, so I'm glad I'm here. All the photographers are out here. I heard that there were some foreign photographers here doing photography work, and then they got dobbed in by the locals, of course, because the foreigners are taking their business. That's the scene, look at that, isn't that beautiful? Nice long lens on that too. This is actually more what I remember it to be like. Even 16 years ago when I was last here, it was pretty much like this down here. It hasn't changed a heap, honestly. Like, there's some bits there that were not my style, but this honestly is fairly similar. Love it. Okay, I remember this place, and again, it was exactly the same back in the day, but when I came here last time, I think it was low tide, I'm pretty sure, and I was able to just walk straight out onto the beach. Here, a little bit more treacherous now. I don't know how people paddle out there. It looks a bit choppy. It looks pretty cool, I don't know. There's someone paddling out there now. This never used to be here. This warung on top of this rock. Let's have a look over here. It is beautiful though, isn't it? Like, just one of the stunning places in the world, and it also happens to be a world-class surfing spot. Okay, a couple of guys going out there. That one's just near a rock. There's a little submerged rock there. Well, that's a bit ordinary, isn't it? Breaking waves coming in here. You got to take your chances, I reckon. Wow, it's like a washing machine, isn't it, in there? They're going backwards at the moment. Oh, there they go. Getting a bit of suck back. And they're out. What a stunning, unique part of the world this is. Like, it's how I remember it. I love this place. Uluwatu itself, the actual sort of Blue Point area, is really just stunning. I can actually see up there another photographer just poking his camera out over there. They were the photographers that I sort of saw earlier up there. Just a beautiful part of the world, isn't it? Okay, now time to get back up the top. Hopefully a different way to what I came down. Okay, just had confirmation there is another way up. That's what we're doing. I love all these old art shops too, which are not open yet, but gives me a bit of an old Bali feel. Lucky I came down here in the morning, 1,000 stairs up, not too hot. If I was here at midday, this would be brutal. Jeez, I'm sucking in the big ones now. 160 beats a minute. Lucky I'm for a fast run. Really need to get some exercise on hills. So it was very flat, so I don't get any adaptation to up down. Nice little track, this one though. Capek. Susah nafas. Nanti dulu ya. Boleh istirahat. Ibu tinggal di sini? Di dekat mana? Biasanya ngapain di sini? Oh, itu. Seperti apa? Seperti warung kecil ya? Jual apa, Bu?
Jualan jajan, es, kopi. Dari mana?
Asal Australia. Ibu asli dari mana?
Solo.
Solo. Oh, Jawa Tengah ya? Solo is the other name for Surakarta. Ya. Dulu ada kerajaan ya, kalau di sana. So they had a bit of a kingdom there in the past, and there is some debate over whether they should have received some autonomy in Solo, because the royal family in Yogyakarta got it, but Solo didn't get it, and they are quite similar in their royal families. That's what I was told by the royal family of Solo, actually. Guy just pulled up on that bike, foreigner, I don't know, has a bit of an accent. I don't know where he's from. Pulls up on the bike with headphones in, no helmet, and the lady says, "Oh, you got to pay 5,000 for parking." And he goes, "I don't have cash." Hello, how are you? Dari mana?
Dari
NTT.
Ya.
Tahu. Mau jalan-jalan saja. Adam.
Adam, Asa.
Asa.
Ya.
Lagi apa? Nyapu-nyapu.
Ya,
Bersih-bersih, bebersih.
harus bersih.
Ya, udah berapa lama di sini di Bali?
Sudah 5 tahun.
5 tahun. Sering balik lagi ke Kupang.
Ya.
Kalau pulang naik pesawat atau apa?
Sekarang pesawat, sekarang kapal.
Kapal berapa lama?
Ya, 3 hari 2 malam.
Lumayan oke. Dari Benoa ya?
Yes.
Ya. Lumayan pakai pel nih. Oke, ya mari ya. Have a good day.
Good day, ya.
You too, yeah. Anyway, getting back to the story, the dude said, "I don't have cash." And the woman said, "Well, you have to pay." And he said, "Oh, well." And he just walked off. And then he walked into the construction site next door because he didn't know where he was going. And the guy's yelling out, "Hey, hey." And the lady said to me, "Biarin aja. Just forget about it. Otherwise you get into a berantem, you get into a fight." Which is not a very good situation, is it? I know that the parking situation for a lot of foreigners is really makes you a bit anxious because no one wants to pay parking, and often the parking is unofficial, and often they will charge you more than they might charge a different person. So I understand that part of it, because I sometimes get a bit, hang on, what are you charging me for that for? But that lady is as nice as, she's only asking 5,000, and the guy says he's got no cash, which he might have no cash, but she doesn't care. She just said, I don't want to get into a fight with him, which is just really sad that it gets to that, really. If it had been a more aggressive guy, there could have been a fight, for sure. Sometimes if you think you're being ripped off on parking, one of the things you can do is just walk off. Just park your bike, just walk off. And it's strongly not advised to do, because you might come back and you might not have a mirror, or your tyres might be flat, and or your helmet might be gone. It's just highly advisable not to sort of get into fights with people in that sort of situation, anywhere in Bali actually. But the Balinese in particular are very, what's the word? Well, they're patriotic for sure, and they want to protect what's theirs, their land, their heritage, their sources of income. So just be careful. The other thing to be aware of is that a fight with the Balinese is not just a fight one-on-one. Like that would rarely happen. If you fight, most Indonesians that I've encountered will tend to fight in a group. So you might have an argument with one person, but it doesn't end up as you against that one person. There will be a group. So if you have some sort of altercation and you get surrounded by a group, admit defeat immediately and get out of there, because you might be in for a beating. Happened to me once in Bandung. Like, this is how I know about it. Happened to me once in Bandung. I was coming down a sort of a side road, quite busy, and I was looking for a parking spot. But then there was a parking guy around, so this wasn't a dispute about me wanting to pay for parking. I was going to pay. But because he was getting paid more by the cars, he was letting all the cars through. And I'd been waiting there for like 5 minutes, and I was like, come on, mate. So I just give him a little bit of a beep, like a little dit, like that. It might have been a bit longer, it might have been dit. You know how there's like a boundary between angry beep and a bit of a toot? I probably went a little bit too long on the horn, on the klaxon, which is another good Indonesian word. And as the guy walked past, he didn't know that I could speak Indonesian, but basically he said, if you don't like it here, off back home to your own country. That's what he said to me. Like real racist type stuff. And as a person who'd been living there for over 10 years, I felt really offended by it. And I got the feeling of the racism thing that that we white people might put onto non-white people as well. It's a really awful feeling. So I called him out on it. I shouted back at him. Don't say that. I can't remember what I said. I might have called him a dog. I don't know if I did, but I wouldn't be surprised, because that's a really offensive thing to say. And he came back and he wanted to fight, like physical fight. And I was like, here we go. But not only that, he was calling all his friends over. And there was friends coming out of the woodwork like you wouldn't believe. Well, it just wasn't him. Like all of a sudden he's got like 1,000 friends, and I'm like, oh, what? Susan got me under control and we got out of there. But yeah, that's a sort of a lesson, you know. Don't let your emotions run wild. I mean, you can, but if you do, just be prepared to flee at a moment's notice. I mean, we all get sort of triggered sometimes, and it's part of being human. And we try not to do that, but if it does happen, don't keep going with it. Don't be sort of had this big ego where it's like, I must win. Don't do that. You'll lose. You'll lose. And you can't really escalate either. Like, what are you going to do? Pull out a knife or something? Like, seriously, you will get bashed. I feel like I might be on the main road now that goes down to the temple. I don't know, but I'm seeing a lot of vehicles, so it feels like I'm on the main road. But it's pretty quiet and low key, honestly, this far up. So we're not that far from Padang-Padang. You can actually walk to Padang-Padang from where I'm standing now. It's probably only, I'm guessing, probably only a couple of Ks. They're up, down. These hills everywhere. So we're not sort of far from where it was really busy last time I was here. Well, not last time I was here, but one of the previous times. So I've been doing a series on all the Bukit in recent times, and I've been to Padang-Padang, Bingin, Balangan, etc. Still little cafes like that, pretty simple ones, which I like. There are still warungs like that, serving local food. Also the old petrol filling situation. I remember when I used to come down here, there was no petrol station on the Bukit, so you'd fill up with the bottles. But I think there is now, isn't there? There's even, hello. Hello, bro. And there was all these things as well. You know, this Pertamini, those little hand pumps these days as well. They don't use the bottles often. It was always fun filling up the chimney with, like, you know, 15 bottles of that petrol on the side of the road that had been sitting out there for months and gone all discoloured. That is a place I stayed. That is exactly where I stayed. Called the Gobleg Inn. Look at that. It looks different from the outside because the wall wasn't there and this entrance wasn't there. That was just the guest house over there. And I had parked out the front here, come along here, and this is all bushes. Oh wow, it's totally different now. Seems to be just, yeah, totally overgrown. Dude came out of the bushes and helped me. So I know where I am now, and that is pretty much the same as it was. And this, again, looks pretty rural and pretty nice. Yeah. So as we get closer to the main temple out here in Uluwatu, it feels still quite nice. There is a lot of construction going on, like over here. Looks like it's going to be a massive construction, but I mean, hey, yeah. God, I love this place. How can you not be smiling when you come to a place like Bali and you're interacting with people like that? The larrikinism. That looks like an awesome little warung. Hello. Jeffrey warung looks pretty cool. What I like about it, and I've got no idea about what the food tastes like, it's just a bit old school. No AC. And quite well designed, looks pretty cool in there. And they're doing whatever you want, you know, like probably for a good price. I'm actually coming back up to where I started the journey before I got that motorbike back to the start. It's not that far. I actually thought on the motorbike it felt like miles, but here I am. Doesn't take long at all. Karma free. The cool thing about the word Uluwatu is it actually has a meaning as well. We know that the word watu, and you see it all around Bali, means rock. So that's the first sort of sign that Uluwatu means something more than just being a word. So what sort of rock is it? Well, Ulu has a relationship with the word hulu, which is Indonesian as well. Not exactly the same, but Ulu sort of means like the top of or at the end of the land. And hulu has a bit of a similar meaning to it as well. Has sort of like the source or the very end of, or the, like there's a saying in Indonesian, dari hulu sampai hilir. You know, it's that sort of end-to-end type feeling to it. And now I'm not an expert in Balinese, so I don't exactly know the specific meaning of it. It has something to do with that, and it makes sense, doesn't it? You're on top of a big rock here anyway. Uluwatu. Because Balinese is from the same family of languages as Malay/Indonesian and Javanese, you find that a lot of the words are very similar between the languages. Not all of them, but a lot of them are quite similar, and they might sound similar. So, for example, the word batu means stone or rock in Indonesian, and in Balinese it's watu. There's lots of those sorts of similarities, and you can get some feelings. If you just got your eyes open and your ears open a little bit, you can get some meaning from some words in the Balinese language, but the average person who speaks Javanese can't just go and speak Balinese. They have to learn it a bit first. But it sounds similar, and there are lots of similar words, and they'll be able to pick up part of it pretty quickly. And if they wanted to learn it fully, that wouldn't be a big process. It's not like going from English to Chinese. It might be like going from English to French, or something like, English or French or German or something like that, where there's a relationship between the languages already. And if you know part of the language, where part of the language is actually quite similar, and that's the case in French as well, and German, there's lots of similar words, and actually a lot of those languages actually have a lot of words in common that make it a little bit easier to learn. So in Australian English, we like to say the word mate a lot. We throw it around. And that's basically what we would say is a panggilan, something that we call someone when we don't know their name, or just a sort of a term of endearment sometimes. And you sort of have the same things. I think we call them honorifics in Indonesian as well. So when it's sort of a casual sort of jolly sort of interaction with a guy here, you will call them bro. Yeah, bro. No worries, bro. You can say that, and it's totally normal because they call themselves bro as well to each other. If you want to get a little bit more formal, there's a bunch of different words, and those honorifics just go so deep in this language, and learning them all is just a lifetime process, so you won't learn them all. But get a few of them down, like bro and mas. Well, bro's not, I don't think, an honorific, is it? Because you wouldn't say bro and their last name. But I don't know, whatever the case. You can call people mas, bli for guys. You can call women get or mba or mbot. Lots of different ones. And then if you want to be a little bit more formal or someone older than you can say ibu dan bapak. And if they're of Chinese, Indonesian descent, you might call them chi, like auntie, chichi, or ko. You can call them that. You can call them tante, om, heaps of them. This is pretty much the Bukit I remember from all those years ago. So it's still here. If you want it, you can get it. And like, I've literally only walked a short distance from where all those good things were and where the beaches are. So, I mean, oh, hang on, we've got monkeys. We have a problem here. Hope they don't come and try and attack me or steal my stuff. Not a big fan of monkeys. But I reckon if there's some little guest houses around here, I reckon it's still a good place to... Oh, the woman's going crazy. She's scared. They must be in her shop. Oh, maybe they don't come down here that often. She was genuinely scared. Yeah, if you can find a little guest house around here, I think it's a great little spot to hang out, and then you're really close to all the good stuff. Oh, this is just a turn off. To the right here, in about 50 metres, is the turn off to the actual temple. I get it, that's why we've got monkeys. Oh, there's heaps of them. It's just like swarmed with them. It's like an infestation. I don't know if they go after hats here, but I think they go after phones, cameras, and glasses. So I'll be on the lookout. Ooh, got puppies as well. Little puppies over there. Hey, it's okay. Hey, hello. Look at this old Corolla. Guy's doing it up. That's cool, eh? Old Corolla. Lagi dalam kondisi restorasi. This guy's doing it up. All right. Okay, so the guy just told me you do need to be careful here of everything. Anything that's not nailed down, they'll take it. So just be careful. They might come after your hat. They might come after your camera, everything. So I am on the lookout. So if I see a mob of them, I might just have to put this camera away. Let's have a look. I don't even know where to park. I don't even know how to get in. I have a funny feeling that at certain times of day, this is really, really busy. Because the parking area here is just so much bigger than it ever used to be. So it must get really busy. I'm guessing for sunset. I remember back in the day, they used to do that ketchup sort of dance here. And I remember it was fairly low key. I'm talking 20 years ago, but I've heard that it's one of the things to do these days. And if everyone goes there, well, I guess you're going to have busloads of people coming here as well, aren't you? So I guess that's why they need the parking. Okay, this all looks a little bit formal. How much? This looks expensive. You've got like booths and everything. Let's have a look. Okay, 60,000 to get in. If you want a guide, and it's basically a security guard to protect you from the monkeys, they're going to charge you an extra 150. I said, I'll give you 10. Like, you've got to be joking, 150. Geez, I must be getting good money if you're charging 150 just to walk around for an hour here. She did say that they will take your hat. Like, they're just going to come for it, and they're going to come for the camera too. So be prepared. I'm a bit worried now. I remember being here last time. I wasn't really that worried. I sort of had a good time laughing at other people getting attacked. Maybe it's my turn now. I did read somewhere they're trying to move the monkeys on because they don't want them around the temple or something like that. They want to get them out of the area for some other purpose. But if, yeah, I've got some monkeys up here and they're sort of like guarding the path. If they come at me, well, it's time to fight. I haven't had my rabies shot either. Okay, so that's the scene now. I thought that temple was actually a lot bigger. What they've been doing down the bottom there is putting a lot of breakwater type material, bits of concrete and everything down the bottom because it was apparently undercutting the cliff. And they were worried that their temple was going to collapse into the ocean. So there's been heaps of work around here to protect against that. I've actually reached the top here. Not really much to see except heaps of monkeys. I'm the only visitor in this area. I've only seen one other visitor at all since I've been here, which is quite odd given that it's one of the most important temples in all of Bali and a really beautiful one at that. This is what they call a directional temple. I thought the monkey was coming to get me there as a dog. This guy is looking interested in me. Don't you dare. Actually, coming up here, I was flocked by monkeys. I was worried I was going to get done. I had my hat off and my camera away. We'll see. Anyway, it's a directional temple, and there are 9 of them in Bali, including the mother temple Besaki, but also temples like, okay, I've just got my eyes open here, including the one at Danau Bratan, Lempuyang, which is in the east. There's heaps of them, but they're really important to the Balinese, and they go and visit all those ones. And it's just one of those important ones for the Balinese. But also, they've usually got a lot of money put into them as well, so they look pretty good normally when you go there. They're just good tourist attractions. Look at them all. There's just heaps of them. All right, I think I'm pretty safe now. Don't say that too soon though. I'm actually worried about the big ones. The small ones I can fight off, like I'll be swinging, kicking, but the big ones, ooh, I'm not too keen on getting attacked by a big one. In fact, I reckon this is about as good a time as any to wrap things up here, get my camera away, and continue on with the day. Thanks for coming along for the ride today here in Uluwatu. Love the area. It's actually come along a lot better than I had imagined. I thought this could be one of these overpopulated Canggu style places. Not like that at all. Beautiful, still has some traditional elements to it. It's getting modernized as well, which is also nice in some ways as well. And still a worthwhile place to come. Thanks for coming along for the ride today, and thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Sanur and the rest of Indonesia. I'll catch you next time, and sampai jumpa.